I just promised myself to shut the hell up and go to bed and stop talking when I'm this exhausted. But then another reflection came to me, and it's exactly about that, about my exhaustion. Here's the thing. Everything has its cost. And people who choose comfort, when I chose comfort, it cost me myself, who I am, things that I loved, things that I love. When I prioritize ideas about how things should be, it cost me who I am. But as I learned to prioritize everything that I am, pretty soon I realized that it's a lot. In a way, I like not only all the interests that I have and how determined I am to implement all the interests in my life in some form. Like, I'm not giving up on what I love anymore. I also absolutely love this as an example of what it seems to be unmatchable interests in some way. I want this to be an example for other people, because I feel like it could be easier for others to pursue their interests, especially if they see me not giving up on what I have as a menu of who I am. But it's absolutely physically hard, especially in this time, the time that I would call transitional time from my past to my full authentic expression, which means that ideally some activities that I do that take time and effort and support me in practical way, hypothetically that practical way would be transferred to things that I would like to spend more time on, like, for example, not spending time on design anymore eventually, and doing philosophy and photography. Just that. For example, not setting up all the systems that I am setting up now, having a certain type of workflow optimized so that I just have more capacity to invest into quality of what I do, like do things better, excel at them, like grow faster. I still do grow. I cannot not grow, but I want to find more time to learn some additional skills in photography, for example, to practice more, etc., etc. So when I have so many tracks, and most of them are new, like I'm learning to speak publicly, and I'm learning to edit my videos, and I'm growing in photography. I'm figuring out different types of photography. I'm working on a project that blends photography and philosophy, and it's also self-portraits, and it's also client work. Hypothetically, it may or may not be client work. So I'm blending philosophy. So there is part of philosophy that goes into self-portraits and that project, and it needs its own container. I mean, some digital presence, and there's like client work. It's an additional time and additional. So I also approach it from philosophical perspective. So it will require more effort because I want it to be that, and I need to. So if I am going to do, I already announced it, but whatever, I need to actually go and do it. This blended format of photography and coaching sessions, like helping people go through self-discovery simultaneously while I talk to them and take their pictures, to do their portraits. That requires me to grow both as a coach and a photographer, deliver of those photos, and the whole design part that is still with me now. So many new tracks of my life. Each requires some type of learning, acquiring skills, practicing, and experimentation. There's still some type of search, and the research and the philosophy that requires, that I would like to add writing to that. I don't have time to write. I absolutely struggle with I hate generated even descriptions or chapters or whatever on my videos. So quite a few things, and getting my finances in order, it also requires my attention. So many things. So physically I'm at my limit, and absolutely I'm not giving up on my routine. I'm trying to implement a routine that when I work out every day, and I want to go out and attend some exhibitions, openings, and some social events, and I'd like to meet my friends. So even when I try to go through the whole list that I do, it seems impossible, but it is possible. This is how I live. It's just absolutely insanely hard, physically hard. And I quite often I feel this desperation, really. It's not that I mean it, but it's very interesting feeling when you absolutely know the value of this life. I live different type of life. I live life of just conventional track in tech, just being a designer, having 9 to 5, and being absolutely miserable, and to the point that I didn't want to live my life, while having some social life, while having entertainment. And so basically I was trying to just kill time and numb myself. And I didn't know any better. It's not that I just didn't know. Only in 2020 I met someone who actually represented something bigger than his, like some life mission or some goal or interest, or something that he was building that is bigger than him. And I realized, oh, this is how it feels. This is how the vibes from that person feel. And I realized, oh, I want that. And it took me a while to figure out what that is for me. And for me, that's a blend of things. And again, for him, I'm absolutely sure that he has a ton of things in his life. We're just not that close. I don't know other interests of his, but I know how life felt before, and I know the difference between weight on my soul, like complete, like the burnout, the emptiness, the hopelessness, absolutely, when I was absolutely lost and everything that was in front of me couldn't help me, even though hypothetically everything was fine, like the job, responsibility is, I was in charge of the whole design agency. I had a relationship, friends, money, entertainment. So I know how that felt. And that was hard. Simply because I had no meaning in my life. I had job, I had money, sex, but no meaning. And now I have everything that I love. But way too often I think that my body won't be able to just hold this intense rhythm. But it's worth it. The difference is that it's worth it. It's worth trying. It's worth like if I die, I die. Like if tomorrow I'll have a stroke because I haven't slept in a while, oh well, at least I lived. And I know it's not the ideal mindset, but I cannot, and I do know that I have to fit in my health into everything else, and I know that I have to prioritize, and I'm doing that too. But frankly, if there is a choice for me to eat or record a video, I would rather record a video. Because I know how to prioritize everything else but what feels right. And again, don't follow this advice. But when I feel, the difference, again, could if I could explain how different this is, being physically exhausted and being drained emotionally, like burnt out and crushed and hopeless, and I think it's way, way better to be physically exhausted. It's not fun, but it's way, way, way better. But sometimes it leads me to this very unfair thought that I actually wanted to share. And this unfair thought is about, because it's hard, there's a part of me that occasionally wants to complain about it. And this part complains about being alone in this. Because I see how people match on comfortable things. So they go to movies together, they go to dinners together, they hike together, they have fun together. And sometimes it feels so deeply unfair that I'm trying to figure out something about this life that not only helps me, and it already does, but I want to figure out how to bring that to others and support them on so many levels. Yes, through the skills that I prefer. Yes, through things that I love doing. But I feel there's so much meaning there compared to just, living life. Especially because I frankly never enjoyed just living life, I never enjoyed spending money and going to restaurants. It helped, it numbed the pain for a while, like it helped for a while. It was never fulfilling. Like for me, there's a difference between entertainment and fulfillment. They feel different. So sometimes I'm unfair, and I feel like it's really unfair that nobody can help me in this. Well, they could. I'm sure there are people who do similar things, and eventually we will connect somehow, and it's just a little bit of personal / existential, like, where is that person who would share this type of lifestyle with me so that it would be easier? Because frankly, I'm just jealous that it's so easy. Like people who build their lives way too conventionally. If a woman requires, let's say, financial support, and it actually helps her, solves her problems, so her problems are solvable through that, it's so easy. For me, it's way more than that, and I do realize that hypothetically, I always ask myself that, what if that was something pretty conventional and I just had more resources because I was partnered, for example. It would never solve my problems because of the cognitive overload that I have. So I literally cannot accommodate, I cannot allow something into my life that does not support, let's say, the direction that I'm going, that I'm moving forward with. And it doesn't make other people worse or unworthy or whatever. It's just my needs are so niche that money, compared to a whole human being that will bring their world into mine, that load of someone else's questions that they're dealing with, interests, problems, whatever, that load would be too much, because they would not be able to support me in what I do and how I live in any way, and no money can compensate that, unfortunately. So sometimes I do know how many activists feel, because it kind of shows from their behavior, kind of shows when activists, and they believe in something, they get really angry that other people don't see the value of what they believe in, and you can see their pain. And this is actually why quite a few people try to keep their distance from real activists, like passionate activists. So when I catch this, a little bit of bitterness, like it would be nice to have some support, but this support is so unconventional. So it has to be more like directional, more like support of the thought. If someone sees the value, like real value in what I do, and practically, without me asking and guiding, they can just take some weight of what I do away. And I have no idea how, but I know it's doable if someone is in a similar, could be advised how to edit video more efficiently. I don't know, like it's just something that is practical, something is like aligned with the direction where I'm heading, and that requires attention and alignment. And when I realize this, when I feel that bitterness, like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted, to the point that it would be easier to have a stroke than to freaking continue like that. But whatever the chances are that I will I don't want to use the word succeed, because what is success? What is the criteria? For me, it would probably be the ability to do what I do in an optimal way, and making money with philosophy and photography, so that it's like more balanced living. And that would be the time when I have very specific understanding of the direction. So I'm testing a little bit less, experimenting a little bit less, setting things up a little, not setting so much things up, not learning so much things anew. So eventually I'll be there, and if I survive to that moment, it'll be great. And I would never, ever, 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 like, I would rather pray for my body to be strong, that's all. I would never change anything about this, ever. But I know how activists feel. When it feels like, hey, could you just care a little bit more about life, and maybe then I wouldn't feel so alone in this world. For me, it's definitely mixed. So clearly I want a partner like that, and that's one person. It's even more niche than anything. So I don't know if that unicorn exists. But the second part of this feeling is more people, is finding actually people who practically are ready to move in the same direction. And I have no idea how that is actually possible in my case, because I still think that what I'm building is highly, well, it's built on my personal experiences, built on my skills and knowledge. And some technical part, it could be optimized. It could be optimized with AI. It could be optimized with some outsourcing eventually. Oh, and I have resources for that. But the core of what I do will still be there. So I dream about that day when that happens, and I'm looking forward to that day when that happens. I think I've shared a little bit too much of my dreams. Anyway, if there is anything that could be useful for general public, is probably that entertainment and following the playbook of how life should be feels very different from actual fulfillment. And the expectation that fulfillment is easy or requires less work. Eventually it does. I think eventually it will be more smooth, because you don't feel the difference between work and joy. But there is this moment that you have to go through anyway, of acquiring skills and getting there, being there in the world with your skills and finding your people, connecting your people. It's just more about who you are, becoming something, bringing that value to others, figuring out, not only becoming, but also figuring out how to bring that value to others. And I think that's relevant in any direction, any industry, any path that we're choosing. And I'm using those words because I don't mean any conventional trajectory, conventional career. I mean more like a really authentic blend of interests and qualities that a person can develop. I strongly believe in that. I don't quite believe in anything conventional, specifically in anything that requires other people to evaluate you. I think that future is about individual humans whom they may join bigger company, absolutely, but they still somewhat independent, and they have unique value, and that value is not only one thing that matches the industry, is the blend of things that come together in a unique way in that person, and that is their value in certain company and outside of it. And they have a number of projects, and those projects are respected by, let's say, hiring side. That happens. So it's more like collaboration of authentic humans skilled at certain things, rather than hierarchy as things are built now. So that's how I see future of work and creating things and collaborating from the place of equality, because hierarchy, like the structure, like the conventional structure of any company, is still not that. Most of the companies, small companies, they have this flat structure. This is why I prefer smaller companies, as small as possible. But bigger companies, they have to have the structure, the hierarchy, which I do not personally enjoy. And I should wrap this up at this point.